Thank you to everybody who is taking time out of your day to join me today. I know that everybody has an incredibly busy schedule. You all have a lot going on, and you are choosing to carve time out of your day to hang out with me today, to invest in your emotional intelligence. And I absolutely and totally honor that. For any of you guys who do not have a notebook and a pen, go and run and get yourself one, because you're going to want to make notes. Every time I do sessions with my clients or people start working with me, they learn really quickly that having a notebook and a pen handy is a very smart idea. There's going to be new information that you're learning that you have not before. I'm going to ask you to write things down. You're going to want to make sure that you have that. Now, I'm going to give you guys the link to the workbook that we're going to be going through today. You guys are all going to be getting a emotional intelligence workbook, and you can take that and print it up right now if you want to, or you can just take it and download it and open it up and then just work in your own notepad or workbook. For any of you guys that have not worked with me before, my name is Harmony Woodington. I am a clinical hypnotherapist and an energy worker. I've been working with clients for a decade now, which is hard to believe. I started this a decade ago. And if you want to know how I ended up on this path in the first place, I became a healer because I needed to walk my own healing path. I came from a childhood with a lot of tumultuous things in my background, a lot of trauma, a father who was depressed and suicidal, and a mother who is a ritual abuse survivor. And when my mother had her memories come back from the stuff that she suffered from, she went sideways on us, and I lost my mother, not from a physical standpoint, but definitely a psychological. And at the time, the practitioners that were trying to support her didn't understand how to help somebody that had multiple personality disorder, or what they call now dissociative disorder. And so as an 11-year-old child, I was trying to work with my mother, helping her to process her trauma so that I could get my mom back. So I really ended up taking a deep dive into the world of psychology because I was just trying to adapt and survive to get my mommy back. And obviously, trying to innovate at that age, you're only going to get so far. And dealing with 20 years of trauma is a rather large undertaking for a child. That obviously created a lot of issues within myself. And when I grew up and became my own person, I had to walk a healing path to reconcile all of that. And it was a path that led me outside of the box, because when my father made an attempt at his life, he said things that took me out of the faith that I was raised in. I kind of found myself not being able to work with regular practitioners that are trusted authorities that are backed up by the government, your psychologists, your psychiatrists, that kind of thing. I found that they didn't honor the existential spiritual crisis that I was having. I had a complete identity crisis. It really put me in that place where I didn't know where to turn and what to do, because I literally had to redefine myself. Every aspect of who I was dictated to me by the church that I was raised in. And so when that was ripped away from me, I was kind of left without direction in my life. And I needed to walk a path to find a new direction, to redefine myself, to find a new path. And I ended up looking outside of the box and finding amazing practitioners that were doing really beautiful things that helped me to hold space to access my own divine path, my own path that I actually chose for myself, my own soul contract. And I was able to step into alignment with the work that I do today. Ultimately, I ended up coming to the realization that I am here to flood this earth with love. And I needed to do my own work in order to be able to do that. I needed to walk the path. There are so many practitioners who don't walk the path themselves. In fact, they become practitioners and they dive into other people's pain to dissociate from their own. And I believe in order to become a practitioner that is ethical, that you need to walk the path yourself to guide other people along that path successfully. So I'm not going to say that I'm 100% resolved, because doing the work on your whole life, resolving your life and expanding, is something that takes the rest of your life to do. You start now and you spend the rest of your life expanding on your brilliance. And there are going to be more tripwires to come in the future. And so you want to commit to the path for the rest of your life once you say yes to yourself. What I've done is taken education that I gathered in hypnotherapy school and energy work and stuff, and then implemented teachings and things that I had learned from walking my own path, and also developed over the last decade working with clients to get them resolution as they came up with particular issues. So this is a decade's worth of development that my clients have actually influenced. Today, what we're going to be focusing on is emotional intelligence. What I want to do really quickly is actually pull up a poll. This is going to be so much fun. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a poll and I'd like you to go in and answer this and select what is a best fit for you. So what do you do when you're feeling emotional? I see some go shopping, call a friend, absolutely amazing. Do something to make yourself feel better. Shut it down and move on. That's what society has taught us to do. Drink or use cannabis. Thank you for being honest about where you're at. I really respect that. Thank you so much, guys. This is absolutely fantastic. So I just want to tap into a little bit of background about how it is that society actually sets us up for failure when it comes to emotional intelligence. Think about the very beginning of life. At the very beginning of life, we are born helpless and weak and frail. And we have to look to our parents for survival, for love, for everything. And when you think about animals, it's really interesting because animals, most of them are actually born completely capable. If you think about a calf or a horse or even a giraffe or elephants, most animals, they just get up and start walking as soon as they're born. So they're fairly self-sufficient from the very beginning. Now they need to get food from their mother and their mother needs to protect them. But it takes us about a year on average to actually get up and start being mobile. We're very, very helpless. And if we didn't have our parents providing our needs for us, we wouldn't last long. We can look at that as a deficit, or we can look at it as a hint. So everything that we're experiencing in this life is actually a hint to what it is that we're meant to discover. But if we go back and we look at this, everything in our lives is actually programming us to believe that we need to look to an external source for approval, for love, to be provided for acceptance. When we feel emotion, there is an external thing that is provided for us that tells us that we need to self-soothe externally. And then when we get to a certain age and we're expected to produce, to work, to get things done, we are told to suck it up. We're told to get going. We're told to do what needs to be done. We're told to bury it and move on. We are taught that emotions such as anger and sadness and fear and anxiety and depression and PTSD and all sorts of other emotions that aren't happy and joyful and bliss, they should be shut down. They should be buried. They should be moved through. They should be ignored. They should be dissociated from. This is just the norm around the world. And as I was working with clients, I came to discover that every single one of the clients that I've worked with over the last decade, they all have the same association to emotions. Shut it down and move on. Find a way to dissociate from it. Find something external to soothe it. If you have a negative relationship with your emotions, it's not your fault. Society has raised you and programmed you this way. And the way that you are born sets you up for this. And believe it or not, society and the way that you're born at the beginning of this life is the way it's meant to be. It is perfect the way that it is. It is a hint to what you are meant to discover. And what you are meant to discover is that everything that you seek is actually within you. When you look externally as a grown adult for love, for validation, to be soothed, to be comforted, it is fleeting. And why is it fleeting? Why is it not sustaining? Why doesn't it stick with you and keep you happy when you get a hug from somebody for the rest of your life? Because ultimately, it's not meant to be the thing that is to sustain you. The thing that is meant to be sustaining is the love and the worth and the security that you develop within. And it's beautiful and it's perfect the way that it is. When we bring that into emotional intelligence, what we're talking about is developing a beautiful relationship with yourself, with your emotions. understanding that everything that you curate from an external standpoint is a complement to what you have developed within. So I saw some of you chose call a friend, and it's beautiful to have people around you that you can look to that will support you and cheerlead you. And that's really scary. That's really interesting. I would love to hear what you're thinking about that. Unfortunately, pushing it downwards affects on those closest to me. Craig, I really respect what you're saying, and you're totally right. When you bury your emotions, they don't go away for good, do they? They don't stay buried. And why don't they stay buried? There's a reason that they don't stay buried and gone. Many people try to dissociate from the pain and the trauma from the past and from the emotions from the past and go, well, it's in the past, so I'm just going to move on. It doesn't exist. But it doesn't stay gone, does it? It doesn't stay in the past. And have any of you ever actually taken a moment and thought about why it doesn't stay in the past, why it comes up in the present and causes problems for you? Why, when somebody says or does something that triggers you, that you find yourself saying and doing things that later you walk away and go, oh my God, what did I just do? Like you've just blown up a relationship. You've just blown up your job, your career, a friendship. You've just blown something up and you don't know how and why you did it. And you're powerless to stop it from happening again. The reason this happens is because you are here to heal, to learn, to expand. You chose to become a part of this matrix for your expansion. Your subconscious mind knows why you're here. So you're living this life with your conscious mind using logic. Your subconscious mind that houses all of the information of literally your whole soul's existence remembers what you did before you came into this life. And you created this matrix for your own expansion, which means that the trials, the tribulations, the trauma, the people that you meet, the experiences that you have, they are all there for your learning and expansion. Because from a place of all knowing, before you came down into this life, you couldn't heal and learn and expand because you literally knew everything. So you were sitting there in the divine board, being connected to all knowledge and universal love. What is there to learn? So you came down into this scenario where you were weak and frail and lacking the knowledge so that you could come down here from a place of weakness to learn and expand. I think what I mean to say is that it's scary being yourself. That's so beautiful that you said that, because it is something that I think most people do fear. Standing in your power and truly being the genuine, unfiltered you. Because when you do, people can judge and reject you, right? And that's scary. And so people put masks on. And I totally respect that. If you understand that your subconscious mind knows why you're here on this planet, knows that you created this matrix for yourself to learn and expand, and that there is a path that you're meant to walk, there's a divine design that you're meant to step into, your subconscious mind is going to take that trauma, take those experiences that you had, that you were meant to learn from, and create situations in the present moment that are going to put you in a place where it's in your face and you have to look at it. And then what happens is it surfaces and triggers that past trauma and those emotions for you to look at so that you can process and heal and learn and expand and step into what you're meant to step into. Working with a practitioner like me allows for you to be able to walk that path, to remember that stuff. Look at that. Got the thumbs up. Let's take a look at the workbook so that we can walk through the different steps of emotional intelligence to help you guys to walk through this process, okay? So we're going to move through all of the welcomes, and we're going to step into this matrix, which is This is Love. This is a framework that I designed for my clients that will make it easy for you, essentially, to remember the process of holding space for your emotions and being able to process them. The first thing that you want to do is map this out and remember it. And that's why I created an acronym for it. Then, once you've got the process and you're integrating it into your everyday life, the next step is processing it as efficiently as possible, getting through the process quicker and quicker. And with practice, the turnaround will become faster and faster. There are some people that are in here that have worked with me before, and they've walked through this process with me, and they can attest to how in the very beginning, this is just a learning right? Developing that emotional intelligence. But as you practice it, learning how to listen to your internal dialogue, learning how to source where it is that it came from and how to flow and release it and get back to that place of love, it gets easier and easier. This is a new language that you're going to essentially learn today, okay? And really it's learning the language of the mind and the body, because your mind and body have their own language. And this whole time they've been trying to communicate with you. It's just nobody told you that was happening. So you were just doing what you have been taught to do, following the autonomic programming that shows up when you're triggered and reacting instead of responding. The first step to this, let's go to the very first step, is being triggered by an event or person. So something happens in your life. Somebody does something and it creates a rise of emotion, whether it's anger or frustration or anxiety, or you're feeling rejected, or you get your heart broken and you're feeling the cornucopia of emotions. I know when we get heartbroken, it literally creates a psychic trauma because there's so much emotion going on, right? Generally, what happens is we have that autonomic programming comes in and it causes us to react for a sense of safety and security. Now, the first step is to recognize that you've been triggered. And the next step is to actually heal by realizing that you're having a breakthrough, not a breakdown. When somebody triggers you, they're your perfect button pusher. If you didn't have any past trauma or emotions or anything associated to this, you would not be having a reaction. There wouldn't be an emotional rise. And I'm going to give you an example, okay? My favorite color is purple. If I was wearing red and somebody said to me, red looks so stupid on you, like, why do you even wear that? I'd be like, cool, you're welcome to an opinion. And I wouldn't have emotions about it because I don't have emotions attached to the color red. But if somebody looked at me and said, when I'm wearing purple and said, purple looks stupid on you, it doesn't work for you at all, I might have an emotional reaction to that because it's my favorite color. Now, it's a very simple example. However, it causes emotion when we have past trauma. If somebody rejects you and you've had a deep past experience and trauma associated to rejection, it could be enough to stop you from even putting yourself out there. It could create paralysis. So you won't even step into trying to make your dreams a reality. We have a comment. I want to make sure that I catch those. What about when you really don't know the trigger? Like a state of general anxiety disorder, it's hard to know what the trigger is. Okay, so when you have an existing state like anxiety or depression, I'm really glad that you brought this up, sweetheart. It's really beautiful to honor the fact that both anxiety and depression are a state that are being created by your mind to paralyze you. It means that there is a big trauma that your mind is trying to shut you down to pay attention to. And until you work with somebody that knows how to help you source that and release it and update your mental operating system, you're going to be in that state. Because your mind is going, you need to pay attention. Believe it or not, when you're in extreme anxiety or depression or something like that, or PTSD, it's actually your mind supporting you, trying to get you to do the work. Because you were experiencing periodic depression, periodic anxiety before, but you didn't listen. You didn't step up and do the work. Now your mind is going, guess what? You're going to live in this 24/7 until you get with the program. Does that make sense? But the problem is society and the people who are considered to be trusted authorities, what they do is tell you that there is a chemical imbalance in your mind. And then they give you things to balance the chemical imbalance, but they don't actually go and source what it is that needs to be sourced to help you to release, to heal, to learn, to forgive, to expand. I am not here to knock anybody that partakes in any kind of medical intervention to get them to a place where they need to do the work. However, I strongly believe that it doesn't need to be a lifelong thing. Realize that if you're in this state, that it is your mind working with you and it can be released and it can be shifted. It's just about learning the language of the mind and learning how to work with it to allow for that state to be released. Your mind is a beautiful, brilliant thing. You just haven't been taught how to work with it. Sweetie, all the hope is here. It's all here. I've helped a lot of people work through anxiety and depression, a lot of people over the last decade. And some people literally, it's one session that gets them over it. It's powerful when you understand how your mind works. The first thing is realizing that it's a breakthrough. So when we're feeling negative emotion, what do? We shut it down. We bury it. We dissociate from it because we're taught that we're having a breakdown. When you fall apart, you have a breakdown, you melt down. It's all bad. All of the words are negative, but that's not what it is. It's a breakthrough. You are surfacing emotions that you've been holding on to. It's self-communication. It's a cause for celebration. You're communicating with yourself. And when you honor it, and when you celebrate it, and when you listen to yourself, you're actually signaling to yourself that you deserve to be loved, that you deserve to have space held for you when you're feeling emotional. When you dissociate from it, you're actually telling yourself that you don't deserve love and support. And you're diminishing your self-love and your self-worth. So just think about that for a minute. Every single time you dissociate from your emotions, you're signaling to yourself you have no worth. So how about we flip it on its head and start to think of it as a breakthrough and start to give ourselves love and signal and tell ourselves that we have love, that we have worth, and love ourselves and celebrate ourselves when we're trying to communicate with ourselves, because that's what emotion is. Emotion isn't good or bad. It is what you do with the emotion. It's the actions that are high or low vibration. Does that make sense, guys? The next step is having inward strength to stop outward blaming. We generally tend to, in society, when somebody triggers us or something triggers us, to blame and hate the person. That person is such an a-hole. That person is such a bitch. Oh my freaking God, I can't believe they did that. And, oh, they fired me and I didn't do anything wrong and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Or when somebody breaks your heart, you naysay them and you call them an abuser and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. The thing is it doesn't matter what the person or the situation presented because you attracted it. You have a vibration that is attracting the situation or the person, and villainizing the person and putting all of the blame and culpability on that person does not help you expand. What you want to look at is what it is that allowed you to attract that into your life. What needs to be sourced and released so that you don't attract that again. And I am not saying that when somebody abuses you and harms you that they're a good person and they should be thought of that way, okay? And I'm not saying for a second that anybody deserves to be hurt either. This isn't excusing bad behavior. However, if you are purely outward blaming and not looking inside as to how incredibly powerful you are and what it is that attracted that situation or that person, it is going to happen again and again and again. It's my first time hearing it with that view. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're totally right. This is not stuff that is being taught in the daily world. It is not. And I'm sharing this for the first time to everybody out there who wants to listen to this. When this happens, what you actually want to do is zip it, okay? When you get triggered, zip it. Learn to stop yourself from reacting in the moment and saying and doing things that is going to hurt others. Because again, it is not the emotion that you feel that is bad or good, that is high or low vibration. It is your actions that are good or bad. And meeting hate with hate and anger with anger is not going to help anything. It just makes the situation worse. It just elevates things. Learning how to stop, zip it, walk away, and honor the feelings that are coming up. And then learning how to turn around and respond from a place of love is what needs to happen to stop the cycle of hate and anger. Does the same go with negative thoughts to ourselves? Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful comment. Thank you so much for saying that. Yes, yes. Be loving and gentle with yourself. In fact, it's a great segue to the next one. Self-loving actions. So the next thing that we want to look at is, how are you treating yourself? You're right. A lot of people will beat themselves up for feeling the emotions that they feel. And there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a beautiful, beautiful soul having a human existence. And you've gone through a lot of things in your life. And when something triggers you and emotions come up, it doesn't make you a horrible person. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling that. So being gentle on yourself when you feel those things and being loving towards yourself and honoring those feelings and holding space for them is what needs to happen. So when we look at the workbook, there is a self-love vocabulary. Here it is right here. And what you want to do, let's make this a little bit smaller so that we can see it better. This is a beautiful sheet that you can take and please, guys, print it up and put it somewhere where you're literally going to trip into it when you're feeling emotional. This is going to be your new way of holding space for your emotions when you're feeling them. And this is not going to be autonomic. You are going to go to whatever it is you've been programmed to do in your life. Program your mind to respond in a new way. And this is why I'm asking you to put this somewhere where you're going to trip into it, because you need to mindfully stop, zip it, and then turn to these self-loving actions. And you need to do it consciously. You need to consciously choose it over and over again until it reprograms the mind, and then it becomes your new autonomic response. If you don't have this printed up right now, I'd like you to take your workbook and your pen. For any of you guys that didn't go get a workbook and pen or a journal and a pen, please grab one now, because I want you to write these down for yourself. Let's look at the rules around what it is that we want to write down before we do this. We want anything that you're going to do to hold space for yourself to be you holding space for the emotions and not running away from them. So you're going to put yourself in a safe space where you can cry and yell and scream and vent and do whatever it is that you need to do to release that emotion. Okay. And you want it to not be reliant on somebody else. And I'm not telling you this because it's bad to call a friend, but what if the friend isn't there? And what we want to learn how to do is hold space for and process our emotions with ourselves. We want to create a beautiful relationship with ourselves. And then anything else that comes along to soothe, to love, to guide, to support is also complementing what you've already developed within. Make sense? What you want to do are things like go for a walk. If you go out into the forest and you're by yourself, you can yell into the trees. You can cry. Mother Nature will hold space. Being in the forest is so healing. It has been scientifically proven that there is a fungus system throughout the trees, which is like the internet of the forest. And it communicates as soon as you start treading in the forest that you are there. And energy is being sent from the trees to release stress from you. It's called forest bathing. If you haven't looked it up, go Google it. You can listen to relaxing music and cry and vent and release. And there's all sorts of music that might be soothing to you, but you can also listen to binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies, hang drum music. I love hang drum music. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but when I started listening to it, I just felt the stress and tension just releasing from my body. It was so powerful. So YouTube it, and you can open up 2 different windows. Put some solfeggio frequencies and some hang drum music together at the same time, or your favorite music with some solfeggio frequencies music in the background and play that together. Whatever it is that you know lowers your vibration and just holds space and just feels like a warm blanket being wrapped around you. Have a bath. Who doesn't relax in the bath? Or if it's a warm shower for you, you can do that too. Have a cup of tea. A beautiful, relaxing herbal tea is good. Earl Grey tea is actually really beautiful because the L-theanine in the tea actually balances the cortisol response. I wouldn't recommend coffee because it actually spikes the cortisol response. So if you're a coffee drinker, please do not go for a cup of coffee. Go for a cup of tea instead. Have some chocolates. We all know that chocolates release some chemicals in the brain, right? And are very supportive. Also, you can combine them. So you can listen to some relaxing music, make a cup of tea, bring your chocolate, get some candles, and have a bath and put them all together. Give yourself a facial, do your nails. And guys, you can give yourself a facial too. You have a face, okay? This isn't just a girly thing. Men need facials too. And that just means sometimes, yeah, you can do the whole masking thing and stuff, but like just a really nice, like soothing cleanse and a really nice oil. You know what I mean? Like a pecan oil or something like that. A really nice nourishing moisturizer is just really nice. And giving yourself a little bit of a face massage. It feels so good just to use the pressure points and just do a facial massage. I used to be an esthetician and I used to do a lot of facial massages. So I actually do that for myself when I'm putting on my moisturizer in the morning. You can also go to the saunas. You know what's really cool about the saunas is when you're in the saunas, you could be crying in the saunas and nobody would know because you're sweating. Just a little hack for you guys. You can go hiking. You can go for a bike ride. There's all sorts of things that you can do. Just remember that when you're making this list, you don't want it to be something where you're actually trying to process the emotion. Okay. So journaling is not something I would put on the list. And the reason for that is because when you are high emotion, you're low logic. So what you want to do when you're high emotion is just hold space for your emotion. Choose actions that are not putting you in a place where you have to think. You're just holding space for the emotional flow. Allow for those emotions to flow. And then when you get to a place of logic, you can start the sourcing process. Does this make sense to you guys? Start to write out a list about what it is that you would like to do. I've given you a few ideas, but what you want this to be is something that you know that you're going to be drawn to do, something that's going to make you feel pampered and loved and is going to give you that space to be with your emotions and not run away from them, right? I love mindful cards. Yeah. Oracle cards and tarot and stuff like that. I've got a bunch of decks and they're really great because they just give you those beautiful messages that are soothing and supportive and stuff, but it's not like having to journal and process or anything. It's just giving you those loving, empowering messages. That's beautiful. Pedicure. Oh, yes, absolutely. I completely and totally agree with that. I love getting a pedicure. Is there anything better than a nice foot massage? I have ticklish feet and I love it. The massage part is good. It's when they're like using the file to like do the callus. It's a good thing I don't have a lot of callus because, oh, that makes me just, I'm so ticklish. So write down this list and please, 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 please put it somewhere you are going to literally trip into it because you're going to spend time with me right now. You're going to develop this list. And then if you keep it in the workbook where it is, you are not going to utilize it and it will be forgotten because your mind is programmed to dissociate. You have to consciously, repetitively implement this until it becomes your new programming. Think about learning how to drive a car. When you first got into that car, it was a death machine and it was terrifying. And you were trying to think about all the things that you had to do. You got to put your foot on the pedal. Got to put things in gear. You got to make sure that the rear view mirror is where it needs to be and the side view mirror is where it is. And you got to pay attention to the speed and you got to be signaling and you got to be looking at the stop signs and the lights and the pedestrians. And there's so much going on, right? And it's scary. And then you get better and better, and you think about it less and less. And then eventually you find yourself driving to a destination and you don't even know how you got there safely because you weren't thinking about it at all. That's when you know that it is now programming. When your mind automatically just does something on autopilot and your conscious mind was not involved in the process at all, that's when you know that it is hardwired into your neurology. Okay. This is called neurological repatterning. You can actively do this and use this for yourself. So this is what I'm helping you to do right now. This is you repatterning your neurology. And as you take and you choose these actions repetitively, the neural pathways that are putting you in a place where you're dissociating are going to die out because they're not being fed. And then these new neural pathways that are being created where you're being taught to hold space for your emotion are being fed and nourished and over time hardwired. So this is how you reprogram the mind for self-love and emotional intelligence. It's actually super simple when you get into it. But at first, you need to be consciously involved. So for all of you guys who are willing to print this up and write a list and put it where you can see it and commit to it, say yes. I want to see you guys commit to this. This is you showing up for you. It's not going to do me any favors. I want you to do this for yourself. I see. Yep. Perfect. Who else is committing to self-love and emotional intelligence? Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you guys for showing up for yourself. I love this. I want you guys to know that everyone that shows up to do this work deserves all of the love and respect because most of the people out there are dissociating from their emotions and they're not doing this work. So I have all of the love and respect for you right now for showing up and taking the time out to say yes to you. You already have my love and respect. Once you get through the emotions, you want to start to always just getting to the kiddos now, the real work begins. I totally respect that, Josh. You want to inquire through self-reflection. So what you want to do is get yourself a journal and you want to start ask yourself questions like, who or what triggered me? How am I feeling right now? Is there anything from my past that is coming up that needs to be honored? How can I respond to the person or situation from a place of love? And what should I do for myself that is in my best interest? Anybody who has signed up for this and is attending, you will get a recording of this afterwards so that you can watch it again, okay? So let's start at the very beginning here. Who or what triggered me? Now, I know that any of you guys that haven't done this work before, you're going to be like, well, how am I going to answer that question? When you're writing in a journal, when you're writing anything on a piece of paper, the first half of the paper is logic thinking. It's going to be your conscious mind that's going to be feeding the information onto the paper. But when you get down to the second section of the paper, the last half of it, your subconscious mind actually kicks in and starts to give you information. So when you write down who or what triggered me and you just allow yourself to start writing, trust me, guys, the information's gonna come out. It will come out. And you might be like, I don't even know. And there might be something that comes to your mind and you're like, I don't know, but just write and let it come out and it will release. Okay. So you might even start by like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know why I'm writing this. I don't even think that anything is going to come out of this. Right. And then eventually it will flow and you will get the information and it'll be like, oh my gosh, when I was 4 years old, my mother abandoned me and she went out and I felt so left behind and I don't know why they left me. And in that moment, I felt so alone and there were these strangers and I didn't know if I could trust them and I felt so unsafe. And there it is. And then you want to allow yourself to bathe in how you're feeling right now. What is it that's going on? What are the emotions that were brought up for you? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling rejected? Are you feeling abandonment? Are you feeling like effort unreceived? Whatever it is, just allow it to flow. And then you want to be looking at what it is from the past that came up and just allow for yourself to write until that comes out. Now, everybody that does the work with me, they get me as their guide to help them source that stuff. Okay. I'm kind of handing this to you and expecting you to do this on your own. But if you want to learn how to go through this process with a guide that has been doing this for a decade, I will be making sure that at the end of this, you'll have the link to book a call with me, okay? Then you want to go and ask yourself, once you've really kind of looked at everything and you've written down what's going on and you've looked at where this is coming from and you realize, oh my gosh, this is triggered past emotion. This person is my button pusher. It's not their fault that I'm feeling the way that I am because your feelings are yours and they just pushed a button. Then you want to ask yourself, how can I respond to this person or situation from a place of love? Because like I said before, responding with hate and anger just creates more hate and anger. You're just going to perpetuate the situation and make it worse. When you respond with love, it diffuses the situation. So how can you go back and respond with love? Sometimes it's saying nothing and letting go and moving on, okay? But sometimes there is stuff going on for that other person and they might be reacting because they're feeling powerless, because they're wounded, because they're holding on to trauma. And they're not trying to be a horrible person, but they're reacting from trauma as well. And how can you step in and hold space and validate them to create the outcome that you're seeking? How can you influence with love to create a positive outcome? And then the second thing that you want to be asking yourself is, what should I do that's in my best interest? So this is, what are you going to do for yourself? Am I going to keep myself in this relationship or situation and work through it because it's worth it? Or am I going to wish the person love and healing and let go? Am I going to leave the situation because it's in my best interest? Is this person to your detriment? Or are they good and they're just reacting because of trauma or whatever's going on and you can work through it? Is this situation to your detriment? Or is it just bad circumstances or something out of the norm that happened, but it is a good situation for you to keep being in? So you want to make a decision for yourself as to whether this is a situation or a person you want to keep in your life, or whether it's somebody that you want to wish healing and move away from. But you want to ask yourself always, how do I respond with love? And then what do I do for myself from a place of love? What about normal situations that you get anxiety about? If there's a normal situation that you're feeling anxiety about, there is something from your past that's associated that needs to be released. Anything that you're having emotions about, there is something in you that is creating that emotion that needs to be sourced and released every single time. every time. Anytime that I have emotions about anything, I hold space for my emotion. I pamper and love myself. I sit down and I journal and I source it. And then I go through the process of releasing it. And then I surface what it is that needs to be learned so that I can step into what it is that I need to step into. Think about anything that you've experienced in your past that you overcame. You've learned, you've grown, you've become stronger. But there's a lot of stuff from your past that you haven't processed and you haven't let go of. People that haven't been forgiven and lessons that haven't been learned. But everything you've experienced is supposed to be a learning lesson for your expansion. And that is what the healing work is. It's not about bathing in the past and the trauma. It's not about hanging out with a monster in the closet, okay? Nobody's asking you to relive your past. What the healing work is about looking at the residual energy and programs that are in your energy body today that need to be looked at and honored and released and updated to support you, okay? I just did a post about this a couple of days ago, myths and facts about doing the work, because a lot of people have this idea that you're going to be meeting a monster in the closet. Guys, there's no monster in the closet. The monster left a long time ago. They created the trauma that you're sitting with, but they're long gone. The healing work is about looking at the residual that is causing issues for you today and releasing it and updating the programming so that you can step into the beautiful current agenda that you have for yourself. Release those things that are holding you back so that you can invest in your dreams and create a beautiful life in service of yourself. Again, we're going to look at sourcing where this trigger came from, and that's allowing yourself to sit and journal and walk through that process. And you're going to hold space and listen. Your mind wants to tell you. It's paralyzing you with anxiety and depression and emotions because it's trying to tell you that there's something that needs to be sourced. Learning to listen to your internal dialogue is a process in itself. And this is why journaling is really great, because when you actually journal, the subconscious mind will surface the information for you. Learning how to listen to your internal dialogue by just sitting here and listening to the mind is an incredibly challenging thing to do because society has programmed you to dissociate. So my clients who work with me over a period of time, they learn how to listen to their internal dialogue through working with me. And I guide and I coach and I support as they develop that relationship with themselves. And I want you to be gentle with yourselves, knowing that every single person that I have worked with over the last decade has had to learn how to do it. Not one person that I have worked with has just automatically, innately been able to listen to their internal dialogue. Society has set you up for failure. So when you struggle with this, be gentle. We're not taught in elementary school to learn the language of the mind and body. We're not taught emotional intelligence. This isn't something that we grow up with. So be gentle, okay? Now, the next thing that you want to do is learn to observe trapped emotions and programs, and just allowing yourself to write down when you ask yourself, what's coming up for me right now? Allowing yourself to just write down those emotions will allow for you to observe them. And when it comes to observing the programs, it's about going and listening to what it was that was playing in your mind when the event happened. And it's going to be something like, see, I can't trust anybody. Nobody can be trusted. Everybody's out to get me. Men can't be trusted. Women can't be trusted. Those are the programs that we're talking about. What are you telling yourself about people and the world? Those programs are going to come up and they're going to play in your mind when the event happens. So if you can go and you can source those and allow yourself to be able to write them down, then you can flip them. Now you can see there's some examples here of that. I can't trust anyone. Everyone's out to get me. I'm not enough. They're all going to judge me. Now I'm sure if you guys think about that, you know that there's programs that play in your mind that create the anxiety that you're feeling, that create the depression, that create the paralysis, the fear to put yourself out there in the world because you're going to get rejected, because it's not safe. A lot of people have the program, it's not safe. I think pretty much everybody I've worked with, actually. The next thing that you want to do is vaporize and release those emotions that you're holding on to and update those programs. Now, learning how to update your programs is a whole thing in itself. And if you guys want to learn more and want to have me do a workshop to teach you how to update programs and stuff, we can absolutely do that. A really beautiful way to learn how to release emotions that are not serving you is when you write everything down in the journal. Take that and burn it. Go out somewhere safe and burn and release that. And ask Mother Nature to take that energy for you and dissipate it and do with it what she will. And you are done with it. You're cutting cords, you're cutting contracts, relax and you are releasing all energy and emotion that is no longer serving you. And you are ready to step into the learning and to what it is that you are meant to be as a result of these experiences that you chose for yourself. That's a beautiful way to release, giving that to Mother Nature using the elements. You can go and you can do it in the forest or next to water if you want to. If you're going to do it in the forest, make sure it's not too dry and do it safely, please. We're not going to start any fires. Using the elements to release is a beautiful thing to do. Obviously, working with somebody like me and learning how to do that whole process and stuff is the most ideal situation. But I'm handing you the ABC 1, 2, 3 so you can essentially take that and do it for yourself. Now, when it comes to the programs, if you're going to update these programs, like let's just say, for example, I'm not enough. Most people will write down a new program, I am enough. And here's the problem with that. This is just a little hint for you guys. If you say, I am enough, your mind is going to finish that sentence because you just made a partial sentence. I am enough to have another piece of crap car, to have another partner that treats me like crap, to have another job where I get undervalued and mistreated. That is not a complete sentence, and your subconscious mind is going to finish it. So make sure that you make a complete sentence that cannot be finished by your subconscious mind. And it is empowering, almost to the point where it's uncomfortable. So if we're going to flip I'm not enough on its head, it's going to look something like, I am a divine being having a human existence. I am love. I am everything. I am a creation of Source. The universe is a creation of Source, which means the universe is matching my vibration at all times and is at my beck and call. What I desire is mine when I learn how to work with my vibration to match what it is that I want to create. And the universe will match my vibration and bring it to me. How does that feel? Does that feel high vibration? Uncomfortable even? When it's so high vibration that it's something that you want to grow into and step into, you can't even get into alignment with it, that's when it's where it needs to be. Okay. And when you work with somebody like me, I'll teach you how to create those updated programs that you want to learn how to step into. Now, saying that every morning when you wake up is not going to reprogram the mind. It's going to empower you and it's going to make you feel great, but it's problematic because the critical mind is going to step in and not allow it into the subconscious mind because you have incongruent programming. So to reprogram the mind, for any empowering statements that you're making for yourself to reprogram or to update your neural pathways, what you want to do is actually write it down every night before you go to sleep. Saying it is great, but it does not reprogram the mind. Writing it down at night before you go to sleep is what does it. What you do before you go to sleep slips into the subconscious mind unchecked because the critical mind doesn't have an opportunity to step in and intervene. So if you want to develop a mind that is self-loving, that is empowering, that is helping you to create what you want to create in this life, write it down before you go to sleep. And you do it repetitively until it becomes your new truth. Now, when you work with me, I can teach you how to self-communicate, to optimize your programs, and to figure out how much you want to say it or for how long you want to say it for when it becomes hardwired into the neural pathways and becomes your new truth. This is just a little bit of next level stuff to support you guys. Again, it's a whole topic that takes time to teach. Ultimately, when you've gotten to the other end of this, the whole goal is for your resting state to be love. So this is what you want to get back to. We want to be in the vibration of love a majority of the time, because being love and showing up in the world with unconditional love, acting towards others with love, with all creatures on this planet with love. I'm just going to say, if we all lead with this energy, the world will be a different place. So this is where you want to focus on getting back to. So again, get clear on how you're going to go back to the situation and respond with a place of love, and then decide what you're going to do for yourself from a place of love. Create boundaries, or maybe wish the person healing and send them on their own way, or omit yourself from the situation. Now we're going to take a look at the Thrive framework. If you have any questions about This is Love, please feel free to mention it in the comments and I'm happy to answer your questions. I want to not just leave you guys with what it is that you need to thrive from an emotional standpoint. I want to give you things that you can do and implement into your life that are actually going to help you thrive. So again, this is something that you want to print up and you want to put put somewhere where you have easy access to it. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to implement all of these things at the same time. It's like in the new year when we create New Year's resolutions and then we just try to do it all at once and then we overwhelm ourselves and within a month we quit. The mind can only absorb and integrate so many things at a time depending on your capacity and how much you have going on in your life. And it's really important to honor where you are and to work with your current capacity to create success. If you know that you don't have a lot going on and you're capable of taking on a few things to implement them, cool, I'm totally happy for you. But if you have a lot going on and you have diminished capacity, then be gentle on yourself and take things on one thing at a time until it's integrated and it's autonomic, and then you move to the next thing. Make sense? Here is the Thrive framework. This is the list of elements that you want to bring into your life that will set you up for success. Number 1, a healthy diet that nourishes your body. Now, when you work with me, you have the opportunity to learn how to self-communicate with your body to optimize your health, to figure out what it is that your individual body is seeking. So we're talking about omitting poisons and sugar and processed foods and all of these things that are putting your body in an inflammatory state. Every time you consume sugar, you are putting your body in an inflammatory state. When you consume alcohol, you're putting your body in an inflammatory state because it's a poison. When you consume chemical-based drugs, your body is going into an inflammatory state, and it takes time for it to balance out. So if you can eat as healthy as possible, get a lot of healthy protein into your diet, consume healthy organic fruits and vegetables, nourish your body. The more you balance your nutrition, the better your mental state is going to be. Because when your minerals are out of balance, when your nutrition is out of balance, when you're not getting enough of what you need, or you're overdoing it on some things, it can create mental health issues. And there are people that I have worked with where literally their psychosis was purely created by an imbalance in diet and minerals. And when that was balanced out, it balanced out their mental health. So honoring and cherishing and taking care of your body is a part of supporting your emotional well-being. Claim your health by getting to know your individual's body's needs to thrive. You are unique. There is one of you on this planet, and there is only one of you that has ever been on this planet. The environment that you live in, your epigenetics, your DNA, your sex, your age, everything about you makes you unique, and what you need is unique to you. So when you try to go on these cookie cutter health plans that are made for the masses, you're not going to be optimizing your body. It's about learning how to self-communicate because the body has its own language. And when you learn how to communicate with it, your body will tell you what it needs to optimize your own health. Use high vibration supplements that support your healthy diet. Now, there are all sorts of supplements on the market, but if you're getting them from drugstores and Costco, I'm going to tell you right now, it is fairy dusted crap and you're just feeding the fish. Make sure that you are really researching and taking the time to choose supplements that are properly developed and researched that are going to create results. Otherwise, you're just putting a bunch of money out there and you are getting no results. So you want to take the time to make sure that what you're spending your money on is actually balancing you. Flow and release emotions trapped in your energy body regularly. You remember how I said at the beginning how important it is that when you step up and you decide to do the work, that you commit to it for the rest of your life. The self-love journey is a life one because you're aging and you keep changing. And so you need to keep recommitting to yourself as you age and change. And you also need to spend the rest of your life exploring the brilliance that is you. You are a multidimensional, powerful, amazing, diverse being. You are a divine being having a human existence, and trying to tap into the awareness of what you are is going to take the rest of your life to explore. And the expansion journey is something that is going to take the rest of your life exploring, because the more you know you don't know. How confusing is that? So say yes to the path and stay on it for the rest of your life. Take the This Is Love framework, implement it into your life, and practice it on the regular every time you have emotional flow. I have been on this path for myself for 10 years and I am still flowing emotion. I had emotion come up for me today because I had my flow and I'm on day 3 and I'm always flowing emotion because my womb will surface stuff for me, right? And so I will be doing some journaling and I will be sourcing where that came from and I will be releasing it and there will be some learning. We are all on the path. So commit to it and know that this is a beautiful, fun life journey. It's not a painful, hard, horrible, like one that's going to make you bathe in your past pain and all the rest of that. And you're going to have to take a big time out from your life and you're going to be a big train wreck and you're not going to be able to function in your life. That's not how it is. The expansion journey is fun. It's an adventure. And for the people who have worked with me and have bathed in my teachings, they can attest to the fact that it is a fun adventure. And when you start doing the work, you're going to want to be on that path for the rest of your life. It's just a better path to be on. Anybody that I've worked with has always said I would never go back to where I was at the beginning before I started working with you. So please, now that you know, commit to flowing and releasing your trapped emotions on the regular because you deserve to hold space for yourself. How many times have you sat down and had space for somebody else that's feeling emotional? You can't even count it because you show up for people all the time when they're in pain. When do you show up for yourself? When are you going to hold space for yourself? Maybe now? Now's a good time. And any of you guys that are here, you are, because you are investing time in learning from me. And that is holding space for yourself. That is investing in yourself. Do things daily that bring you joy and lift your mood. Now, this list that I asked you guys to create, that is a list you can utilize. But you can go above and beyond that and create a beautiful long list of things that you love doing or maybe things that you want to explore. And take time every day doing something that makes you feel good because there are plenty of things out there that are going to lower your vibration. So you want to be actively doing things every day to set yourself up for success. Finish your day bathing in gratitude and love and joy and affirmations and writing programs and listening to guided visualizations so you're falling asleep in gratitude and bliss and joy. And wake up in the morning with meditation, with guided visualizations, with affirmations and things that set you up for success for your day. And if you're struggling during the day at all, you can take a time out and listen to some music or a guided visualization, write down a few gratitude or affirmations, or just do something that brings joy. Watch a comedian. Go bathe in Mother Nature. Go hang under a weeping willow. Weeping willows are so beautiful for creating a barrier and releasing negative energy. I love weeping willows. I always hang out under them if I need to, if you have one in your area that you can hang out under. Create a loving, supportive social circle to support yourself with. I know too many people that act as though they don't choose their friends. You can cherry pick your friends. Anyone who is in your life that is to your detriment, that is sucking your soul dry, that is not contributing to your life, think about giving yourself a friendectomy. Curate people into your life that are going to cheerlead you, that are going to support you, that are going to hold space for you when you're struggling, that will listen to your point of view without judgment, without trying to force their opinions down your throat. Hang around with people that are going to take the information that you've learned today and encourage you to follow through on it. Take those friends that you go, I learned something new that is going to be supportive for me. Let me share it with you. And those people that go, yeah, I want to learn about it too. And I want to encourage and see you thrive. Those are the people you want in your life. Curate a network of unconditionally loving cheerleaders that want to see you thrive, that cheerlead you in the moments of weakness, that hold space for you when you have emotion, that encourage you to hold space for your emotions when you're struggling. Create a relationship with your divine self and create a life devoted to your divine design. Now, if you don't know what your divine design is, then start looking for it. Start doing the work to discover it. Working with me is one of the ways that happens because we each have a divine design. We each have a purpose for this life. There is a reason that you're here. There's a reason you wanted to come down into this matrix, and you can discover what that is, and you can step into it. I am living my divine design right now. I am here to flood this earth with love, and I will do so by developing an unconditionally loving relationship with myself and teaching others to do the same, and helping them become lighthouses for love. And through the butterfly effect, the earth will be flooded with love. I discovered this in walking my own healing path. You have a beautiful divine design. And when you focus on finding out what that is, you will find the answers. And when you work with practitioners like me that know how to help you to source and figure that out, you will get the answers and you will be able to step into it because you will have a cheerleader that will guide you on the path to stepping into your divine design. Regularly partake of the all-you-can-eat buffet of spirituality. It is a big, beautiful world without rules and guidelines and boundaries and matrices and ABC 1, 2, 3. You are a divine being. You are a creation of source like the universe, and universal knowledge is yours to access. You just need to learn the tools to access it. But if you meditate, go spend time in Mother Nature, you can access universal knowledge. It comes to you when you make space for it. Even if you ask questions and write in your journal, you're allowing universal knowledge to come to you. You have to make space for it. And there are simple tools that you can utilize to learn how to tap into that knowledge and wisdom as well. Develop a strong sense of who you are, why you are here in this life, and spend the rest of your life connecting to expanding on this. Do you know why you are here on this planet, or are you just identifying as your job? Because your identity is not your job title. You are here for more than that. Step back from the human existence and realize that you have a greater design. Your job might have something to do with it, but you are not your job title. Think about professional athletes. Professional athletes that identify as what they do. What happens to them when they retire? They have an identity crisis. They go through extreme depression because they identified as a professional basketball player, a professional football player, a professional tennis player, whatever it was they are. They lost their identity when they were forced into retirement through injury or age, because they all age out. They all go through it at a much younger age than those of us that are not in professions that are dictated by our physical well-being. And to avoid that identity crisis from happening, you want to step outside of that and develop an identity that is not attached to your profession. And it allows for you to step out of that and have a great time when you do retire, whether it's 30 years old because you're a professional dancer or athlete, or you're something else and you're retiring when you're 60. Your profession is just a part of what you do. So start to develop an awareness that is outside of that daily job. We attach ourselves to that because our ego wants to have a title to make us feel important. But understand that you're a divine being. The title of your job isn't the thing that gives you importance. You've been important and everything and amazing always. You are everything. You've always been everything. It's just a matter of walking a path to remember that. Now let's tap into something that is incredibly important that people do not talk about on the daily, sadly. Reclaim your power by reclaiming your sexuality. The powers that be have been messing with our sexuality for a very long time for a reason, because our power, our potency is in our sexuality. And if they take our sexuality, they take and control our power. Now is the time to reclaim that. Reclaim your sexuality, reclaim your pleasure, reclaim your power. It will give you the power and potency you need to do what you want to do in this life. You have a beautiful, powerful body that is capable of so much pleasure, and you deserve to have that in this life. But it is also your power center. So when you reclaim that and own it, your power cannot be taken from you again. Do not let people shame you from a sexual standpoint, and don't shame others. There's something that my son said recently that I thought was really cute, which was don't yuck somebody's yum. And it's very true. What everybody is choosing to do with full consent and love with somebody else in the bedroom is none of your business. And you have absolutely no right to judge. We need to learn to celebrate diversity and have inclusivity and allow people to celebrate their love and their sexuality in the way that they feel is right. As long as everybody is consenting and nobody is being hurt and it is motivated by love, then we should be celebrating it. So walk your own path to reclaim your sexuality and let go of the shame and the programming that has put you in a place where you're not embracing what makes you feel right. Because when you let go of that shame, you will cheerlead and support others in standing in their sexual power. It's our own shame and insecurities that puts us in a place where we shame others. Next, spend the rest of your life learning how to be based on unconditional love, zero judgment, except for when it comes to your physical safety. Obviously, those of us who are women, We need to have judgment and discernment when we're going out there into the daily world because we are susceptible. But of course, as human beings, we're all physically susceptible. So please use your judgment and be savvy and be safe. But we want to learn how to be based in unconditional love and zero judgment towards others and their path. Diversity is a thing. Everybody comes from different cultures and religions and spirituality and thought processes. And when we can get back to a place where we can learn how to have healthy debates again, and we can learn how to converse with each other and share ideas without forcing our ideas down somebody else's throat, is the day we're going to be able to exist as one humanity. Everybody is exactly where they need to be. Even if they're in a refining fire, it's their path. And where they are on their path is perfect the way that it is. And we need to give people their free agency to be where they are. Use your discernment to choose to omit that person from your life if they're to your detriment. But where they are on their path and with the way they see the world is of no consequence to you. You don't need to rescue or change anybody. The only person you can control is yourself. So practice showing up with unconditional love and zero judgment towards others, and just make the choices to what you're going to do. Cherry pick those people if they're awesome, or send them on their way if they're not. Let them be who they are. Always choose love. If we can all start doing that on this planet, it'll be a better place. Always give those around you free agency and never give away your own. Free agency is a concept that most people in this world struggle with. If I let somebody else tell me what to do, then I don't have to be accountable for the decisions that were made and I can make them my scapegoat. If I let somebody else rescue me, I don't have to do the work. But the problem is you don't learn the lesson you were meant to learn. So the universe is going to serve it to you again. If you rescue somebody else, you are messing with the fabric of the universe and you're stopping them from learning the lesson they need to learn. Empower the people around you by helping them find the answers and rescue themselves. Do not rescue other people. You are messing with their matrix and what they're meant to learn in this life. And don't hand people the power to choose for you either, because you have lessons that you need to learn. Give people the freedom to be where they are and to stay in their refining fire or to step out of it and choose to only cherry pick and hang out with the people that have stepped out of their refining fires and are on the expansion path. Free agency is a massive concept that I encourage you to bathe in, because most people that are walking around here on this planet are not exercising free agency. They are handing their free agency to other people, and they are taking people's free agency and not even realizing it. When you hold expectations for somebody else and you dictate their behavior to earn your trust, you're taking their free agency, because they're going to behave a certain way to earn your trust. When you show up with unconditional love and you see the person being perfect the way they are, and you release expectations and you either cherry pick them or don't cherry pick them, then you are giving the person their free agency to be who they are. Do not force somebody to be or do something to earn your trust. You're dictating their behavior and it's taking their free agency. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask, okay? So each one of these things in the framework are going to help you to curate that relationship with yourself that you want to create. There's a couple of things that I want to read to you. This is going to be grand scale, and I don't know if it's going to permeate for all of you, but I want you to listen and see if it speaks to your soul. We are in a matrix of our own design. From a place of all-knowing, we lacked the ability to learn. To create a reality where we could continue to expand, we created a matrix that allowed us to learn from a place of weakness. We were forced to look for love and care for our survival. This programs us to seek from an outside source. As we mature, we are called to look inwards to heal. If we give ourselves the love, time, and care that we seek, we will heal, learn, forgive, expand, and step into the self that we had planned to become all along when we were all-knowing. Following the prompting, we will step into a new, expanded self. The weakness we chose by design helps hint to us that the love, care, and acceptance we seek is our own. All love, validation, and praise that comes from an external source is temporary, and you will be left seeking more eternally. Your own love, validation, and acceptance is the only that will fill the internal void and be sustaining. You are a divine being experiencing a matrix of your own design for your expansion. You are a creation of source, as is the universe. This makes you one with the universe that always matches your vibration. The vibration is created by your subconscious mind or supermind to create what you desire, heal, learn, forgive, expand, and step into your power. Tap into your universal mind to create, and do so by tapping into your beautiful divine self, and your soul will be full of love, worth, and security, and it will be sustaining and will allow for you to step into that beautiful divine design that you created for you. I got one more for you. If this resonates with you, before I read the next one, give me a yes. Nice. Yes. That's beautiful. Thank you, guys. I've got another message for you. When you bathe in the darkness, it becomes a part of your vibration. Left unattended, the darkness overcomes you and you become the darkness. To overcome the darkness, see it as a perfect part of the matrix, the design you created for your expansion. Run into the darkness and turn on the light. You will release, heal, learn, forgive, expand, and tap into your beautiful divine light. Allow yourself to become a lighthouse of love and show others the path so they can overcome their own darkness. You are love. All you need to do is remember it and embrace it. I hope this inspires you. I hope that what I have shared helps to give you a little bit of an understanding as to how your emotions work, how your beautiful mind is working with you. The language of the mind and body, and the fact that you haven't been betraying yourself. You've been trying to work with yourself this whole time. Nobody's taught you how it works. Thank you so much, Josh. I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is a link if you've enjoyed what you've learned and you feel the calling to dive in and learn more, okay? I'm not here to pitch anybody on anything. I'm not going to pitch some big program or whatever, because here is where I just want you to gain value with no pressure whatsoever. But please save that link, and if not now, later. Now, does anybody have any questions at all, or something in particular that maybe you're struggling with that you would like me to hold space for? Because now is the time. Any tips you can give on insomnia? Yes. Your mind is again working with you. It's keeping you up for a reason. It's trying to talk to you. Again, you're not understanding the language of the mind, and so you don't know how to source what it is that's keeping you awake. But your mind is trying to tell you something. If you want to just source what it is from a very simplistic standpoint, I would recommend that you get a pen and a paper. Okay? And write down, mind, why are you keeping me awake and what do you want me to know? And start writing and let your mind tell you what it wants to say. And once you source what it is, you will sleep. Insomnia, anxiety, depression, PTSD, anger, it all has a purpose. We just have to start listening and interacting. Your mind's been talking to you this whole time. You just haven't been taught that that's what's going on so you can engage. Working with Harmony has helped me to turn my life around after my husband of 45 years died. You are awesome, Harmony. Thank you. Paula has walked through my program, and she is a gift. She is absolutely a gift. And her story is incredibly beautiful. And having the opportunity to work with Paula and to see where she was when we first started working together to where she is now, it's like night and day. Her learning how to speak with her mind and body, how to tap into her power, how to create a new life in service of herself after losing her husband, having literally a lifetime with him. It's been an absolute honor. And I want to let you know that she stepped into doing the work with me at 70 years old and learned how to rewire her neural pathways, how to develop neuroplasticity again, how to hold space for her emotions and develop emotional intelligence. She created a new business. So there is no age and no time that it's too late. Hey, Paula, it is never too late. If you are alive, if you are in this life and you want to say yes and you want to start thriving, it's never too late. Just say yes now and do the work. Is there anything that you can do about anticipated triggers? Yeah, of course. If you know that there's an anticipated trigger, then you write down whatever it is that's potentially going to trigger you. And we do the work to figure out what it is that created that button, and we release it. Now, if you're looking to do that for yourself, the This Is Love process can be implemented for that, right? So you sit down and you write down what those triggers are. And one thing at a time, you're going to write down what is it that triggers this? Or you know what the trigger is, but what is it that's triggering me? And you allow yourself to write. So can you give me an example of what it is that you know that you're potentially going to walk into that triggers you? Ex-husband having a new partner. Okay, so let's just sit with the ex-husband having a new partner. So that's really, there is societal programming, there is attachment, and there's unresolved emotions there, obviously, right? So society dictates to us that when we have emotions towards somebody, that we're supposed to create an attachment to them. And there is this whole concept of ownership that needs to be addressed. Okay. We don't own anybody. We don't own anyone. We're not possessions to be owned and controlled. And the whole concept of marriage kind of gives a sense of possession and ownership, and it binds us to each other. So we're expecting that person to then be with us for the rest of our lives. And if it doesn't work out, well, then you don't get to bind and control and possess that person anymore. And it's not necessarily that your intentions are to control the person in a negative way. It's more programming. It's societal programming that we're playing out. This life is one where people are going to ebb and flow throughout your life, throughout your whole life, right? And when you develop that internal worth and security and love, you can allow for people to ebb and flow in and out of your life with ease, including husbands, lovers. I've experienced my son coming and going twice, once between 14 and 16, and again about a year ago. The first time it was for 2 years and 3 months. The second time it was for almost a year. And just because I created that human doesn't mean I own him. And in his own journey, he made the decision a couple of times to not have me in his life. And when I fought it, it didn't go well. It created resistance, because what we pay attention to and resist, what we fight, creates resistance. And when I let go and I focused on me and developing a beautiful, loving relationship with myself and allowed him to be his own person, he came back of his own volition in the right time. So what you want to do to focus on letting go of your ex-husband is, first of all, change the word association, okay? Ex-husband. That's a negative term. Think about using a word like husband. That's a term that my sister came up with, and I love it. I think it's such a great term, my husband. This is a person that was in your life for a period of time, and there was good and bad that you experienced, but allow yourself to sit down and bathe in the beauty that was created, the expansion, the growth, the learning, who you became as a result of this person being in your life. And then allow yourself to look at the things that you didn't like about that person, those traits. And when you look at what it was that attracted you to that person and you learn how to release that stuff, you can move forward and create a new relationship, not attracting those negative traits. And know and own that you do not own and possess that person. They are not a possession to be owned. And you guys are no longer in alignment with each other, but you learned beautiful things. You contributed beautiful things. And what you want to focus on is wishing that person healing and love and setting them free to continue to grow and expand on their journey with whoever they're meant to grow and expand with. And you focus on your expansion journey and adjusting your vibration and program so the next person that you allow into your orbit is going to contribute to your expansion. Does that help? Cool. What about work is triggering for you? Can you just elaborate on the work thing for me? I just want everybody to know that if you're handing me information that you want me to speak to, that you're giving me permission to give you feedback. It's very important to be mindful of free agency. And I want you to know that I'm sharing this because you've given me the permission to give you feedback, okay? I get anxiety about going to work. Okay, so here's something that's really interesting about getting anxiety when it comes to going to work. Now, the work that you're going to, you could be getting anxiety about going to work because the work that you're going to is where you're not supposed to be. It's not the right thing. It's not in alignment with your divine design. It's not the path that you're actually supposed to be walking. And your mind is trying to tell you, your soul is trying to tell you that it isn't where you belong. Or you just have a cortisol response when you wake up in the morning because that is what happens when you wake up. You have a cortisol spike when you wake up in the morning. And then if you drink coffee, it spikes the cortisol response even more so. So a lot of people are feeling anxiety driving to work, and it is purely a chemical reaction they've created, and they didn't know that that's what they were doing. And when they switch to meditating in the morning, drinking tea, which has L-theanine that balances the cortisol response, having protein instead of carbs, which spikes the cortisol response and then creates an inflammatory response, because that's what sugar does. So be mindful about doing things that balance the cortisol response when you wake up in the morning. Protein balances the cortisol response. Tea balances the cortisol response. Meditation balances the cortisol response. Affirmations, listening to a guided visualization on the way to work. Those are all beautiful things that you can do to balance the cortisol response. So what you want to do is kind of test it out. I mean, you might know already that in your heart of hearts, this isn't where you belong. And you just haven't found your path and invested in it because you're struggling with mental and emotional health issues that are stopping you from investing into what you really want to be doing. There could be a dream in your soul, in your heart, that you're holding on to that you're not stepping into. Okay. Or it could just be a chemical reaction you're creating that's spiking your cortisol, that's creating that anxiety in the morning. Which do you think it is? Could be both. It could absolutely be both. This isn't necessarily always an or thing, okay? Just to be clear. But what would you say it is? Think about it. And if you're curious and you want to get the truth, write it down. Why do I feel anxiety when I go to work? And allow yourself to write. The answers are here. The answers you seek are here. You're carving out time to invest in yourself right now. But are you carving out time to invest in yourself and to bathe in your emotions and to hold space for your thoughts and to process things in your daily life? Because most people aren't. You're living your daily life and you're running around and you're working and you're trying to pay the bills and you're trying to catch up with your friends and you're trying to do all the stuff, and you fall into bed exhausted every day. And at what point are you exploring the all-you-can-eat buffet? At what point are you holding space for your emotions and developing emotional intelligence? At what point are you holding space for developing a relationship with your beautiful subconscious mind? This isn't something that the everyday person is doing, but if you want to thrive in life, you need to carve out time and space for yourself. This is how you quantum leap. And if you want to force that agenda, you hire a coach, because that forces time in your schedule where you are going to do the work. It creates accountability, right? Because you know that you're going to have to answer to somebody when you haven't done the work. You're going to be given homework to do. You're going to be given direction. You're going to be guided along a path that is going to give you what you're seeking. It is so much harder when you're in a state and you're doing it on your own and the tools are just handed to you and you're expected to do it of your own volition. But I hope that makes sense for you, okay? Does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want me to hold space for? I don't see anything coming in, so I am going to wrap this up for the day. And I want to let all of you know who showed up live today that I respect and appreciate you for showing up for yourself today. And all of you guys who signed up and weren't able to make it today because of timing, I want you to know that I also love and respect you for watching this on the replay. Thank you to each and every one of you. I really do wish you all love and healing. And if you want this to make a difference in your life, implement it. What I just shared with you today has zero bearing on your life if you do not commit and implement it. So please take the This is Love framework, take the self-loving actions, take the Thrive framework, and print them up and put them somewhere where you can actually start to implement these tools into your life. And it will have a positive impact if you implement it. You've already made a difference in my life. Thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate it. I hope each and every one of you has a beautiful rest of your day. Let the universe bless you for all of your love and helping others. This is my soul contract. This is what I'm here for. This is my life purpose. This is what feeds my soul. Every person who develops an unconditionally loving relationship with themselves and thrives is what makes my soul sing. Paula can tell you. Listening to her and her expansion and how the work that we've done has expanded her reality is what makes my soul sing.